Hello and welcome back to another video on my channel. Unfortunately today is not Millennium Dawn, it is instead just a random game on, well, is it vanilla Hearts of Iron 4? Could be, might not be, don't really mind. We'll say it's vanilla Hearts of Iron 4 for now. So no real sort of idea in mind here, and it's not like it's going to be a series or anything, it's just a one-off video. More so that we can sort of have a little chat and I can just share a couple of ideas and a couple of changes coming to the channel. Because if any of you watch my other channels, then you would have seen there's been a couple of changes with them and sort of schedules and all that sort of thing, as to them sort of changing up a little bit and adjusting a couple of things there. But this channel is also going to have a change because currently the schedule is Thursday to film and then Friday to post the video, which has lately gone to Friday filming, Friday editing, Friday posting, which just is quite stressful. And as of last week, it was filming at like 3:30, which it still got out pretty much on time. I mean, I think it was a couple minutes late, but roughly on time. But the amount of stress that was to get it out on time just isn't worth it. So I just don't have time to film on Thursdays anymore like I did previously. So what I'm going to do now, first off we're going to play the Soviet Union here, but what I'm going to do now with sort of filming into the future is I'm going to film on the Friday, which would be, for example, if I was to do it this week, which I'm not going to, I'd be filming today when this video goes out, and it'd be actually posted tomorrow, which is a Saturday. That way it gives me time to actually edit them and sort of make sure they're up to standard of quality of how I want them and stuff like that. Just basically giving a little bit more room to checking video quality and making sure everything goes together well and not having to be rushed together with not much time to do any sort of editing or anything like that, to much of a degree. So that'll start from next week where that change will happen. And I think another big thing we should probably mention, or I should mention more like, is the entire thing of Millennium Dawn. And I can't currently film on Millennium Dawn. I did try this morning, I could not do it. Tried several times, it didn't work, it just kept crashing. So the general answer is I don't know when they're going to happen, Millennium Dawn videos. I want them to happen, 2, 3, 4 weeks ago, but we're here and they haven't happened. So it is realistically as soon as I can get my new PC, I'll do Millennium Dawn videos. Obviously, let's say I was to get my PC in 5-10 minutes, I still wouldn't be able to record a Millennium Dawn video yet because I'd have to set things up and whatnot. So, I'm hoping, well, I was hoping it was going to be this week and last week, and I'm hoping it's next week now, which I'm really, really hoping it will be. I can't obviously guarantee it because it's been such a struggle to get to the point we are currently, that it could take a week or it could take a month. I don't honestly know. But what I can say is as soon as I can, and as soon as I get the PC, I will set it up and get a Millennium Dawn video out for you guys. But it is simply as soon as that becomes an option to do, I will seize the time to do it. So yeah, it's just a matter of waiting until that time arrives, and when it does, I will make use of it. Anyway, we're going to do the path of Marxism-Leninism here. Probably butchered that about 5 times over. In fact, I don't even know why we'd be waiting for normal focuses. Let's just do them quickly. So we'll add some political power in to see what we can do. And we'll go from there. So we'll ban fascism. Don't know if you can say that on camera, but anyway, I've said it now. Improved worker conditions. Go from there. Just basically doing some sort of basic things, I guess you could say. Here we'll upgrade, not sure upgrade's the correct word, but we'll use it anyway. Put some conscription up. We need to move to partial mobilization to make sure we maintain balance of where we're planning to go. And then we'll do limited exports here just to try and keep a lot of resources available for the military, the Air Force and the Navy. Mainly the military, because that is the largest thing we're going to have. The Air Force, and you guys may notice this by watching my videos, I don't use it too often. And I do want to use it more. It's just when I was learning the game, I just mainly learned on the military, then sort of learned secondary the Navy, and never really truly got into habit of using the Air Force as much. Nor had I really got a habit of using the Navy much either, but you know, these things you can work on over time, and I do intend to work on them at some point. However, we should probably turn another console command on here just so we can get things going. I apparently cannot type. There you go, that should be spelled correctly, which it is. So we'll cancel this focus here, which is fine. And then what we can do here is basically just go and select the focus, and it will just automatically complete, which is good. Now, I was watching YouTube the other day, and I want to mention this because it's relevant to the video, where someone was playing Soviet Union Hearts of Iron 4. It was a YouTube short, and they got Stalin as a field marshal, and for whatever unknown reason, and I'm going to be completely honest, I don't know what reason it was, I think it's this guy, yeah, Stalin as a general, or field marshal, whatever it is, was loyal to Bukharin, who is the right opposition to Stalin, so I thought that was pretty funny to mention, that, you know, probably shouldn't happen, but it did. So what we want to do here is basically address some of the things that need to happen, like, you know, we need to make sure that we watch the, I can't remember what it's called, is it political paranoia? It's something paranoia. I can't do that because that'll start the Great Purge, and that'll just send Stalin into paranoia, ruining half of my chances of what I want to do. So we'll do that, and then development aid for the Eastern Allies, war measures in the East. We'll annex Tanatuva straight off the bat. There's no reason to wait around to do it. And then we'll fortify Mongolia as well. That way, just getting all that secured. We'll go down there. Now, recover Alaska, I would do here, but two things can happen off it. One, you get it, which is what we want, and it gives us, you know, ability to go into Canada, which is beneficial to us. However, if the Americans say no, it leads you to a war with America. Now that, in itself, is quite difficult, because what I think should happen is something based on real life, which is every winter between Alaska and the Russia or Soviet Union or whatever you feel inclined to call it, the ice, the water freezes over and it becomes like an ice field. So you can technically cross there. However, it's very heavily guarded by Russian troops on the Russian side, so you ain't really going to get across that well. But it is a thing that happens, And I think they should make use of that, where they have some sort of land crossing into America, which would obviously help quite a lot, which would be quite useful, but we shall see. We will do this anyway, hoping that the Americans accept it, and then we can do this, and then we'll go down Baltic security here, which is the way we can go to be able to send ultimatums to all of them, and then we will put through secure Leningrad. And then I think that's about where we want to stop for there. We shall see if there's anything else we feel inclined to do. I mean, I think we should probably go down this focus here. And then we can go secure the administration. And then the collectivization process. Normally you'd have to wait here for 175 days, and then 175 days for the workers' dictatorship, and then the same for the military conspiracy, and so on and so forth. However, I'm not necessarily feeling like waiting 175 days. Instead, I'm more feeling like doing it in one. So we're gonna do that, then we'll do the workers' dictatorship, military conspiracy, and then hopefully here we should be pretty much on a good path to do centralization, and then we just got to basically complete the final few things down here. We'll do that. That sorts that one out. This one we need something, so we're going to wait on that one. Right, we need to do a focus down here then. Right, that's fine. We'll do that as well. Do a couple of things while we're here. It's fine. And then we should be able to do this one. Right, it's good. And now that should pretty much solve that issue, which it does indeed. Okay, we'll do this focus here. And now what we're hoping is going to happen here is that quite a few countries surrender to us, in effect. Now whether they will or won't is to be seen, but we shall hope that they do. I'm trying to search currently. There you go, I have found it. We are going to start by sending an ultimatum to Latvia, because it is the one that would help us the most, because it means we can encircle Estonia and gain a border with Lithuania, which will present more pressure to both nations for their ultimatums or likely annexation. So we'll see how this goes here. Okay, well, there was two options. They picked the one that wasn't good for us. So that's a war with them. Tartuva has joined, which is good. Now we basically wait for Finland to give us an opinion, which most playthroughs I do, they always say no. So generally I always sort of start to assemble some troops here, and move them closer to the border with Finland. We'll just take 24 divisions here, because that should be all that we need to seize Finland entirely, which here we're not planning on, moving into Finland and then handing it back, or just taking little bits of it. we're just going to go straight into the country and take it entirely, because it's just better for us. You can see here that they're moving some troops into the border, which is fine. We pretty much knew that was going to happen anyway, so it's not too much of a shock that they did that. But we'll just mobilize some troops here, and then we can move into the territory pretty swiftly. So the idea here is to pretty much immediately split them into two. Once they're split into two, then we can make pace on actually completing the encirclements necessary to get them to surrender, which would be quite nice. So we'll see how this goes here. Hoping the troops start moving a little bit faster. If not, we can build another is it army group, or I don't really know, divisions. Go into a army, right? Army 2, fair enough. So army 2 here will be the sort of quick reaction force, I guess you could say. More likely they'll just be used to attack whenever I need someone who is close to Finland to assist with an invasion of said nation of Finland, which is pretty much about to happen. So let's move some of them in there. That's 12 divisions that can wait there and be used if and when required. So let's not do that. Let's go to war with them here. So we'll declare war on them here. We don't really care about the League of Nations. It's not an issue that I'm concerned with. Latvia also surrenders, which is very good because it gives us a area that we can use to sort of pressure the other two Baltic nations, which is really good and beneficial to us. So here we go into Finland here. We'll just have to do a couple of console rounds. Right, so we'll make sure we've got all the latest research, including special projects. Right, and then we'll add all the latest equipment and give us... Hold up. What's just happened there? Okay, we're using some for supply, that's fine. Don't know why we're using some for supply, but anyway. Apparently necessary. We could arguably just not use any for supply, but well, here we are. It's a lot of special projects, which we finally got through. Hopefully here, we should be able to start a proper attack into Finland, which would be nice. Right, so we are fully advancing now across the border. I would like to see troops get to Helsinki and try and seize the capital there, because we should be able to do so, which would be nice. But we'll see how that goes in a second. But I mean, it's going pretty well so far. We've got quite far across the border, and it looks like the pace should be sustained to a decent level, so that's good. We'll move troops across here, which these are sort of reserve troops, you could say. So they're advancing forward there, which is good. So hopefully they continue advancing forward at a decent level of rate there. Now it's just about waiting for, well, something major to happen, I guess is what you could say. But we shall see what chooses to happen. I mean, Finland should offer some level of sort of peace deal here in a second. Now it's not the sort of level of peace deal you might be thinking of. You go into a peace conference and you sort of divvy out territory between the allies. It's more of a Finland offers some concessions so you stop the war. We will be denying that, because if we deny it, then we've got more chance of taking the entire country, and that sounds more like what we'd like to do. So that is exactly what we'll do instead. So that is good. We'll continue advancing forward here and hopefully get a decent result pretty quickly. Obviously the troops are moving quite well down to Helsinki here, which is good to see. And I'd like them to close the pocket just here. I say pocket, it's not really a pocket, it's more of a sort of weak area in the front line where there isn't any troops and we haven't got supply connection through. But obviously now we do, which benefits us greatly, as it means we can advance as one line instead of a technical two, because, you know, a large body of water we just cannot use for benefit of supply. But when you bypass that body of water, you can use it. So this is the event I was saying that they were going to offer, and we're just going to say we need all of Finland here to make sure we gain all of the nation. So we've obviously gained Helsinki here, but they still have a sort of supply port here, which I don't like them having, because it obviously benefits them to have it, so they can still get supply to their front line, which I'd ideally like if they didn't. So we'll send the tanks up to go and take that out as well, and hopefully make sure it will not be under their control again. And then I'm still aware that they have another supply port elsewhere, which I will go and sort of take over as well. So there's a couple of remaining supply ports that need to be taken, but I will make sure to capture all of them in due course. This one being the next one to go. The base up in, I'm not even going to try and pronounce that because I'm going to really badly mispronounce it, so let's not even go there. But we will start advancing here, and it will basically start to look a lot like we're taking all of their coastline, which is a sort of side effect, you could say. It's not the main goal, but it is a goal to some degree. So we'll take the supply hub here, which we do indeed have. Then we'll move the tanks back down here to close this little pocket that we've made, which means we don't have to defend it. Then we'll move up here with these tanks, and that way we can start to take more coastline apparently. So we'll move them up to here to once again do the thing we said wasn't the main goal, which is taking more coastline, which seems to be the main goal now. But anyway, I mean, it's good that we've sort of swept the bottom out from underneath Finland, because sometimes you will find that that is quite a hard task to do, and sometimes it's super easy. And obviously this time it's super easy, and I'm very happy that it has been. We'll move these troops into here, making sure to take that tile as we go, and hopefully we continue at a decent pace here to sort of sweep up the rest of Finland as we move along and forward here. I mean, the main goal here is probably to completely take their coastline out, which obviously we're talking about the one towards Europe, not the sort of super cold and really hard to get to territory one, which is up north. It's mainly the southern coastline that we are worried about at the minute, not the northern one. But the northern one will come into being a concern pretty quickly once we finish the southern offensive, which is going really well here. Right, so these 3 tanks here are going to be used to go up and take their new capital in Kemi, and once we take that, then we're pretty much set to just take the rest of their southern coastline, which is rather good. So that's nice. Don't need to worry about that. We will mobilise the armed forces for the Turkish situation. Now, I'm still waiting for the one time that Turkey actually stands their ground on it, and we can go to war over it, because they always do this, and I really, really, really want them to stand their ground one time, so that I have a reason to invade them, because otherwise I just have to either wait a long time to get a war goal, or just use a console command to go in and take Turkey, which I will be continuing this game off camera and probably taking Turkey, to be fair, including taking America and just pushing in further that way. So that should be fun. But we are continuing here, which you can see we're slowly taking more territory, and there is the overall surrender. So what we'll do here is we'll take their navy as a priority, just so that we can bolster our naval numbers, and also their ships will always help the Soviet Union, and then we'll take all of their territory at the same time, meaning that we will have a larger sort of resemblance to what the old Russian Empire used to look like when it had all of Finland under its control. So that is Finland fully under our control now. The next goal, you could say, would be either a sort of nation down here, like in Estonia or Lithuania, which we will send ultimatums to both of them now, as we are ready to do so. However, the next goal is actually none of them. It's not even America, because you see, the next goal is a goal we wouldn't have thought of doing, and that is, well, Turkey. Probably not one that is normally expected, but if we can take out Turkey now, then it gives us greater control over, well, the Black Sea, effectively, because the only entry to the Black Sea from, the main seas of the world is through Turkey. So if we take control of, Istanbul, and Turkey as a whole, then not only do we gain more ports, we also manage to gain full access to control the Black Sea and cut it off to anyone we feel like, which from a political standpoint is a major, major victory. So, speaking of major victories, we should probably make one. First, I do want to sort of assign a couple more troops. So we'll take these 3 troops from Odessa and move them down here. Now, I'm going to be completely honest, I don't feel like waiting 20 minutes for them to arrive, So we're just going to quickly teleport them down into position, and they can all reorganize from there and get to the front line and prepare for the offensive, which they should all be preparing now. Once we're all prepared, we will just basically push across the border and just crack on, which, speaking of that, preparations are not necessary anymore. Let's just go. Can't be bothered to prepare. Let us just advance and take the territory. Obviously, Romania will be called into the war here, which is just something I should probably have been prepared for, but wasn't. But that is completely okay. We can obviously deal with that as required. And by as required, I mean let's just grab a bunch of troops here and just put them on the border. It's 22, that's fine. 22 divisions here that will just move to the border with Romania and just sort of push Romania back sort of down to this area here, and that should about do to sort of show a little bit of resilience on that border, and hopefully they'll move down there and start work on the offensive into Romania, which was unexpected to start as early as it did, but that's okay. And then we've got the Turkish offensive as well, which currently we can't get any troops in or out of the Black Sea, which is a temporary setback, which we sort of knew was going to happen due to the fact that Turkey was going to shut the straits to enter the Black Sea, because obviously they're at war and they have, well, full license to do so. But the good thing is we are going to hopefully seize them at the end of the war and be in full control of them, which is good. And then we'll check on how progress is going over here in the Romanian offensive. It's going okay. Estonia has joined the Soviet Union, which is good to see. Lithuania has also joined the Soviet Union, which is also good to see, which shows that our faction is now growing. And we can see that we're starting to push Romania back, hopefully at some point out of Odessa, which would be nice, but it'll probably be a quite long battle to actually achieve that, but we will. And then we have a new operative or agent there. The Turkish offensive is going really well here. We're advancing with quite a lot of pace, which is good to see, and hopefully we can continue that way until we take this pocket and basically remove it. Should be good. Right, so that's the pocket being closed there, which will move any troops that have been taken off the main front back onto the main front, which should help our offensive a little bit more to continue the pace across Turkey. Now, while they're doing that and moving pretty well, we'll go and check on how things are going up in Romania, which we've now finally crossed the border into Romanian territory, which I obviously very much like to see, because it shows sort of will and intention of actually sort of making these offensives and making these sort of moves to take territory and make sure that we come out of this battle and out of the war with the upper hand, which is always a good thing to have. So we shall hope to continue the pace here. I would like to get across here from Trabzon to Samsun. Once we make that sort of connection for our troops here, we're hoping that we can then continue along to Kastamonu and then down to Ankara do a sort of sweeping top-down offensive into Ankara, which then we can potentially move to Bursa and Istanbul, and then Izmir as a secondary point of offensive. But so far we have gained quite a lot of Turkey, and it's clear to see we are definitely on the front here. By the front I mean the winning side, which is obviously very good to see. Now Romanian offensive is starting to pick up, which is really good to see. We are definitely advancing there. We're obviously not going to advance all the way into Romania. We're just going to advance a decent sort of frontage into Romania to sort of show a level of commitment to taking them away from any potential European adversary in the future. Which we're hopefully going to take these 9 troops here and assign them to sort of speed into Ankara. We're going to skip Kastamonu and just head straight to Ankara, because it'd be better to take the capital than some sort of B or C city. So we're going to try and take the main sort of government headquarters, which obviously they are going to try and flee in a sense to Istanbul, which I'm going to try and send a division straight over to Istanbul here to try and counter them as quickly as possible. But we should be alright, hopefully, here to get there first. Which we have now basically taken Ankara, so they are going to move to Istanbul as the secondary capital. In fact, they're not even going to do that. Fair enough. Thought they were going to do that. They didn't. So we'll just move our troops to Istanbul instead. Preemptively. Which is alright. We'll just do that anyway. Anyway. Unfortunately, we're not going to be able to continue this video until we do take Istanbul. In fact, I might try. But we're currently 37 minutes into this video, and I don't really want it going over 40. So what I can say is thank you all so much for watching this video. And I'm going to pause the game here. Thank you all so much for watching this video. If you did like this video, please do like, subscribe, and turn on your post notifications when you do subscribe. And if we just wait for OBS to open here, there we go. I hope to see you all back here next week for another video on Hearts of Iron 4. Hopefully Millennium Dawn, but no promises. And it will be Saturday that I post next week, and that will be the new day of posting. So if you are looking forward to next week's video, it will be coming out on the Saturday instead of the Friday, and that will be basically how the videos will be posted now, is they'll always come out on a Saturday. So hope to see you all there, and bye for now. Bye.